Thomason Realty Group, and it's Marvelous Monday. We may be a little bouncy here. I am headed to another appointment. I was not able to get this in early this morning like I normally do. Been in and out of appointments and meetings all morning long, so wanted to try and get this to you as soon as I could. Today's question comes a lot from buyers, especially first-time home buyers, and it's not a big question, and I'm glad it's asked as much as it is, because it is something that is truly important, and that is why they want to know why they need to spend the extra money for home inspections, septic inspections, surveys, if there's a well water test, radon, just anything of that nature. First off, these can be included in your closing cost if you are asking the seller to cover some of your closing costs, negotiating that into your contract. Sometimes the sellers are willing to work with you on that manner, depending on your offer, and sometimes not. So if they decide that they don't want to, then it is something that you have to look at paying out of your pocket. Why are they so important? First, because you're buying a home that you know nothing about. You're taking the seller's word for it, which I'm not saying that the seller is going to just flat out lie to you, but the seller themselves may not even understand everything that's going on with their home at that time. So it's always a good thing to just have them done. And then you go into purchasing this home with full knowledge and acceptance of what the issues are, if there is any, and what's going on. Home inspectors, from the roof up under the crawl space, basement, whatever, your house, of course, if it's on a slab, they can't do that, but they're going to check the roof for leaks. They're going to look at the shingles, if there is shingles on there, or the condition of the roof. They're going to look in the attic, make sure there's no issues up there. They're going to look at wiring. They're going to look at plumbing. They're just going to look at all of those facets of a home to give you a bird's eye view. Now, please do understand that any and all of these inspections that are done as of that day, and that is what they are good for that day. Your home inspections, your well water, septic, radon, whatever the case may be, they are good for that day. So, if you go into a closing and everything is good up until that point, and then, a day or two or a week after your HVAC goes out or whatever the case, it's not a situation to where you can go back on the home inspector, because anything and everything can happen, and it will. If it's an older home, I always like to talk to my buyers about possibly negotiating in a home warranty for the first year, which is generally paid for by the seller for the first year, and then after that, if you decide to keep it going, then you would be responsible for it from that point on. So these inspections, whether they are going to cost you a little bit of money, but like I said, you go in having full disclosure, knowing what the issues are and what's going on with the home when you purchase it. Yes, during your due diligence period, you have the right as a buyer to go to the seller and request repairs. Now, it may be listed as is what is. North Carolina is a buyer beware state, so you want to make sure that your realtor is explaining all of this to you, from front to back and back to front, so that you have knowledge and you understand it. Just because the seller lists it as is does not mean that you don't have the right to request those repairs, but that the seller also has the right to deny those repair requests. So then it's just up to you to make the decision of how you want to move forward. I hope that this helps out a little bit and everybody can kind of explain, it kind of explains and helps you to understand it just a little bit more. It's a lot of information, and it's a lot to take in, but if you go into it knowing and understanding from the very beginning, and you're not bombarded with it and surprised by it, then it's going to make the transaction move along so much smoother. Every house has its quirks. There is no house that is perfect, just like people. So the more you know and the more you're aware of, the better off you will be, and the happier you will be in the very end. So I hope that this helps a little bit, and I hope it answers a few questions. If not, please feel free to reach out to myself, reach out to your realtor, your friend, just whoever may have the knowledge